Hey, everybody, and welcome to Holy Cross Band's podcast. Here on the show, we take a look. I'm not going to dab. I'll say that for the end. Here on the show, we take a look into the lives and achievements of college musicians who brought you the good time in different HC bands ensembles during their time at Holy Cross. Today, we are interviewing Kevin Smith, a recent graduate of the Holy Cross class of 2020. He graduated as a computer science major. Kevin plays alto, tenor, and bari sax in the jazz band, pep band, and marching band, and has participated in the ensemble since he was in high school. He was also an RA and has spent his junior year abroad in Italy. Kevin is certified in lifting things properly.
Mm-hmm.
He's watched a lot of anime. He is a Ratatouille enthusiast with opposite feelings held towards Stuart Little.
Yes.
Just an all around good guy. So thank you for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Gus.
Hey.
It's a true pleasure.
Love the dap.
I did it for you.
So much energy right off the bat.
I'm very excited. Listen, I know we talked a little bit before the show started, but I'm still very amped up right now.
Yeah, we're riding that pre-interview high.
Oh yeah, like a wave, like I'm Big Z, and this show is a wave. All right, I'm riding it.
Oh, there.
That was for you, Justin.
That's foreshadowing, folks. Surf's up. So
more to come.
We'll be talking about Surf's Up in a little bit. But I like to start off the show by asking our guests about their humble beginnings in music. So how would you describe your music career from when you started up until now, and when did you start playing?
What a tale. What a tale, Dennis. Let me tell you, okay? So it all started back in elementary school with the recorder, which I hate to this day. I imagine many people share this beginning, but if I'm being accurate, the recorder was where I did indeed start playing.
A lot of people share the recorder beginnings, but I think you're the first one to bring it up on the show. So
really, I mean, listen, I want to be open. I want to be an open book, and if you want to call that playing music, then that's when I started playing music.
Did you guys have like before you continue on with the red?
Oh yeah, no, stop me at any point.
When you played recorder, did you guys have the belts? Like you played the song, you got to like level up your recorder? I don't know if this was just a thing, but
really, you got to like move on to like the next recorder?
Not
or more complex music.
Yeah, so same. But we played the song and you had to play it in front of the teacher and in front of your classmates, and then you got like this little yarn, which was like your belts. You like tied it to the end of the recorder. Cross was the white belt song, and then it went up to black belt.
I'm sorry, but that sounds a little mean.
It was a weenie thing.
And that sounds like a very mean thing to do. Like you have like, God forbid someone isn't able to play the recorder while they're stuck at a white belt while their friends are like moving up with the belts, and they're like, look at this chub, he's only got a white belt on his recorder.
Yeah, you could be the kid who got picked last in kickball in gym, and you were also the kid who only had one belt in music.
And you're also, or you get made fun of for being the black belt. It's a lose-lose.
Like, look at it. Like, you got made fun of for being the black belt. A lot of kids got accused for being cheating. So looking back on it, it just added to all the stuff.
But I mean, that kind of reflects my general sentiment towards recorder, which is just bad, annoying, unnecessary.
Yeah. But I understand. Post recorder.
I know there's a whole professional classical recorder industry out there. I don't acknowledge it, but then I started taking piano lessons. So that was like where that was in end of like elementary school and into middle school, and that's when I was like, that was tickling the ivories, as I like to say.
Tickling the ivories. Piano before sax.
Yes, piano before saxophone. Yeah, no, because me and my two older brothers, we all took piano lessons when we were young. but so I continue with so I started that in elementary school. In middle school, we had the instrument petting zoo, very fun. And I gotta be honest, I think it was like the French horn or the trombone that almost got me.
Really?
It almost tempted me. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think the fact that I was able to make noise on the French horn at all,
Mm.
like the person doing the French horn was like, "You got a lot of promise, kid." Because of course I was naturally talented. Um, but so I ended up selling with the saxophone, the alto saxophone, and so that's what I started playing in middle school. All through middle school, I continued doing piano. So I was doing piano and saxophone. Piano was just during private lessons. I think it was seventh grade. I tried out for our middle school jazz band for piano. Did not make the cut. Eighth grade, I tried out for the saxophone. I did make the cut.
There you go.
And then at that point, once I started playing saxophone in the jazz band, that's when I sort of stopped playing piano because I was like, this is not interesting, and apparently I'm not good enough. So the middle school jazz band was where I really started playing like music at a higher level because it was like I mean it's like a middle school concert band. You're like, what did you know? You got such a bunch of buffoons in a middle school jazz band. It's absurd. I felt sorry for a band director. I feel sorry for any middle school band director because that just seems like such a miserable job. You're trying to get these animals interested in music and trying to like sit still for an hour and like make music impossible.
Music.
Yeah, music again. Music. We played Mars.
Jazz standard Mars.
No, that was in concert band. But
Oh,
then
okay.
in jazz band, and at least for me, like this was a separate ensemble. This was like this was an ensemble you had to audition for. Like this was like a serious ensemble. Like you practice, we had semi-serious rehearsals, and it was a lot more focused. And so that was like more introduction into. That's when I just started to become more invested in the saxophone. Leading into high school, where we have not only the concert band but the marching band. Woo! Okay, at my high school, if you wanted to do marching band, you also had to do the concert band. There was no choice, so you had to do both. Um, and that's where I started my career in marching band. And I never really looked back. So I marched alto all 4 years. Let's see, I was librarian. I was librarian of the marching band my junior year, and then I was president of the marching band my senior year. Um, but I will be completely upfront about this. In our marching band, the president's role was not very impactful at all.
Mm.
I did not have very much impact on the band's direction. It was a period. It was a crossover because we had this band director who had been there for like 30 years. Um, a really interesting character, and he was also he had this sort of mentality of like the good old days, the better days of like marching band like at the high school like in the 80s and like like when like those are the days when like a prank in the high school would be like you bring in live farm animals to the high school and you let them loose and
Yeah.
like that was a prank like that's and that was a fun high school prank you know
Uh,
so he had and so for one he was becoming physically disabled, and then two he had this sort of like backwards mentality that he was like I don't know he was always sort of like living in the past. And so I think these things like were eventually what mm, kind of led to him being asked to leave by the
this was
principal.
during the middle of your career?
So this is my junior year.
Okay.
And so so then the eventually so junior year he was asked to leave. I think it was a combination, and like he was just he like it was like he was not like he was just stuck in the past, and he was never gonna like fully like
Mm.
come to terms with like things as they were now. Um, but so like the assistant band director, who had already been the director of the jazz band, pretty much essentially, the band director technically was in charge of the jazz band. That it was this assistant band director was calling all the shots. So he stepped in to become the band director, and he was a very he's a very take charge person. He was doing everything himself. He was making all the calls. And so that pretty much led to me my senior year being president and not really doing much, right? Because you had this band director who was very hands on, but he was also handling this like transition, like he was becoming band director, and like a lot of things were changing, and so like he was like he wanted to like make sure that everything was going in the right direction, so he wanted to be very guiding. Um, so I didn't do a lot of person. Long story short, but I loved being able to help out the band. I loved, it was like for us, we had like a pit and we had sound equipment and we had the scaffolding that we put up so they get a high view. So I love just like helping out, setting things up, bringing things down, being just trying to be like a positive influence, trying to get everyone, motivated about and getting excited about it. So that was my marching band, and I think I love marching band. I think there's a certain kind of person that joins your marching band,
I agree.
and I like those people. And then in jazz,
when I talked
yeah,
to Andrea, she put it really well. It's like these group of kids, maybe some are nerdy, but it's like a lot of the kids are like they're serious about what they do, but they're also very ironic about it.
that is a lot of people.
Pretty
That
spot
was a
on.
lot of people who march. Yeah,
Yeah,
ironic is a word that can be used to describe many of them. um, and then so I had marching band, which was competitive. So we were doing competitions. Um, and then we had jazz band, which was also something that we also competed with that ensemble.
were you guys Nesba or U.S. bands? I don't know if you
Jazz
remember.
band, Nesba, I mean Nesba.
Mm.
Um, and again, I don't know. I always like jazz band was always where I was because I was also a saxophone player. So I didn't, you don't have like that classical kind of path as much. I mean, it exists, right? But like, you're not a string player. You're not like a clarinet or like a trumpet player, right? You don't. There's not as much classical music written for you, right? So where do you go to find, advanced, music that you can really improve yourself upon, right? And like that's jazz. Um, and so jazz band was always what I associated with with higher level, more challenging music. Um, because for like that's what I had been in middle school. It was the same way in high school. Um, and um, yeah, and that's I peaked as a musician, as a saxophonist. I peaked in my senior year of high school. Because that's when I was in marching band. I was trying to play really well, and then in jazz band, I was a lead alto, and I was lucky to have other incredible musicians in that jazz band, like really great musicians. Like one of my best friends was a trombone player, and like he's like becoming like he's a musician. Like that was his goal. That's his path. So like he was amazing, right? And so I was in this ensemble full of like really talented musicians. So that really pushed me to try and like measure up. I didn't want to look like I was like I was like some kind of loser on the saxophone, but like that led to like me like practicing every single day, like at either after school ended or in one of my free periods. I was in one of the practice rooms in the band room like for an hour every single day practicing saxophone, and so I really peaked. I really did peak, but it was such a positive environment, challenging environment. Um, and so I had really great experiences in marching band and in jazz band. So it was come time to looking for schools when I was a senior, I feel like I said when I was a senior a lot.
No, you can keep going. This is great.
Nah. But so those are two things that I was looking for. I was like, I want to be in the band and I want to be in the jazz band as well. Like those were like two things. I was like, I don't want to. like, I didn't want to be like one of those schools where like, oh yeah, there are a ton of like student, there's kind of student groups around campus. You can always join one. I was like, no, I don't want to like, I don't want to like start a band. Like I want to be like in an ensemble. I want to, so lucky and incredibly lucky to have found such a fantastic jazz band at Holy Cross here. I like it was like, what are the odds you get like Mike Monaghan? Um,
Especially at a small
and
liberal arts school, just having all these music.
yeah, yeah, I was like the jazz ensemble was beyond like what my dreams. Marching band was well in a completely different way because I had come from this like Nesba. I had come from like a Nesba competing band. Like we were like and we with a like a pretty strong history. Like when I was in the band, it was on the decline as far as size goes, but like it was still like a pretty strong history of doing well, always competing. So I was coming from this competitive band, and then I come to Holy Cross. I'm like, all right, time to join the marching band, and I arrive in this 40-piece marching band where quite frankly technique is kind of out the door. um Unfortunate, for better or for worse, like um and it was I don't know, it was a know what was like the same drive there to like improve and like really be better. No, but is that necessary in a college marching band? I like after my 4 years and having like knowing people in like much more intense marching bands. I'm very glad that it's not like
Mm,
it's like when you're in college, like that's not what you need in your extracurricular activity. You
right.
know, it's
100%.
yeah, exactly. So this was like so it was perfect because this is the Good Time Marching Band was a group where I could personally try my best to like march as well as I could, like I knew I could, without having to worry about it, like without having to like be like
There's no pressure of competition.
there's no pressure, exactly, like it's and it's quite fulfilling because now all of a sudden it's all internal motivation,
Mm,
right? There's not as much external motivation, it's all internal motivation.
mm.
um
Is this what you was this what you were looking for? Like you heard that there was a good time marching band, and you that it was small, so it was like when your thought process of joining, were you thinking, oh, I want to join because I want to keep up the activity, but I want it to be lax? So like, what was the thought process there?
no, I just wanted to be in a marching band. Like I just wanted there to be a marching band and I wanted to be a part of it because like I said, like there's something about like these ensembles that I don't know, like whenever I'm in them, like I always find myself enjoying them and really having fun.
Mm,
Like no matter what ensemble has been, and it can't be like no matter what ensemble it's, I've always enjoyed it. I've always loved it.
mm,
The one exception would be maybe the concert band here, but that was a very, I think that was a very personal thing. I don't know. I like as a saxophone player, concert bands are not very exciting.
right.
And that's just I don't know. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
And
And that's
that was
okay.
a personal decision.
Mm,
And I was like, I'm no longer feeling the fire.
mm,
Um, but I don't know. Like all band groups, I don't know. There's just something about it where it's just always like you're performing for yourself and you're performing with these other people and like you are like they are like propelling you and pushing you forward and like you're helping the people around you like
mm,
um I don't know, it's an incredible experience to be able to perform an ensemble
mm.
and for however like lax the Good Time Marching Band is, like you don't, that's not lost, right? You don't that 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 performative aspect is not lost. It's still there.
Right.
So I think it's a good balance of being a casual extracurricular, you do it because you choose to activity, where there's also still a strong sense of motivation coming from yourself and coming from the people around you to do good. Um, so so that's how I feel about the guitar marching band. I think for and that was just my experience. And like I think for like someone coming from like all the people who've never marched before that are coming into this band, it's a completely different thing because you're like, oh my god, I have to march and I have to learn how to march and like, oh, there's all these things about like how far my legs go. Like this is so intense. Which is, and it's like the completely opposite experience where I'm like, I know 8 to 5, I know roll stuff. Like this is like beginner stuff.
Mm.
And like
And
it's
then
like
you have an
all the like
opportunity, because it's such a collaborative effort, you have an opportunity to help those people too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so it's like, yeah, it's like for someone who's like competing, like all the most basic stuff is like completely new to some people.
Mm.
And I think that's a really cool thing because the fact is that the Holy Cross Good Time Marching Band also opens itself up to people who have never marched before, and it makes it very easy for people who haven't marched before to join
Mm.
and participate and feel like like really like they're contributing.
Mm.
It's
And
really
just,
great,
as appropriately titled, just have a good time.
and just have a good time. It's in the name. It's in
It's
the
in the
name
name.
of the band. You have a good time.
Yeah.
Um, I did have a good time. And then the jazz ensemble. It's just amazing. Mike Monaghan, amazing musician and director. Um, it's just really excellent. I can't,
Mm.
it's so good. It's so good.
Mm.
And he's such a patient director and such a great director because I feel like the the amount of like self control you have to have that much experience and knowledge and talent and like look at college musicians who are doing it just for fun, right? They're not from like a lot of them are not music majors. They're not pursuing it as a career. This is just something that they do on the side. To be able to like not just tear them apart and critique them like at every single error, like I can't imagine because like he's got to like he's got to notice every single thing. He's got to notice all like the little errors that we're making, and the fact that he doesn't like point them out every single time is incredible to me. I think it's really it's crazy.
Just to capsize on that, the amount, I think it speaks high volumes of character. Uh, you're, from everything you just said, you describe yourself as someone who, in their high school march band, they just love to help everybody out with all the sets and always getting better. And that's a sign of a great leader, great musician, great person. And also the way you commend Mike, speaks volumes to your appreciation, to your dedication, and everything. And plus, when you're someone who just compliments someone, it's a sign of a good person. And going off of that, when you mentioned the amount of discipline like a band director has working with students, I think discipline is like a discipline and that kind of restraint and that kind of mentality you have as a musician is kind of a big deal and also very understated. Like outside looking in as maybe like a non-musician or as someone who just does music casually, because it's hard. It's hard to just keep practicing every time and critique yourself and striving to get better, regardless of any ensemble, and whether it's jazz band and you want to improv better or marching band where there's just competitive scene or not, role stepping, that whole attention to detail. It's pretty mentally draining. And you're all my peers look at you as such like an upbeat, optimistic person. So segueing into the next question, do you have like a secret, like what keeps you in such a high spirit? Like even, like in jazz band, when like the pressure's on, what keeps you going?
It's just fun. It's to do. It's easy. I don't know. I don't think it's hard. I think it's like when you're doing things that you're enjoying and you're having fun. Like it's not that hard. It's not hard. Like I'm in the good time marching band. I'm marching. I'm playing the saxophone. I'm with all like my closest friends. right? Like I'm doing something that I really enjoy. And so it's not hard to get excited about it, you know. Um, I don't know. So for like, so I guess so for the times when it does, like when you're like tired or like it's a late night or an early morning, um, I don't know. I think you just have to like you have to remember like why you're doing it, and you have to think about you know. For me, it's like I don't know. I think it's for me a large component, the part of the motivation is the ensemble aspect, where it's like if I'm feeling down or like if I'm like I'm like feeling lazy and I'm just like I don't want to I don't want to march. Can I just like walk? I don't want to be roll stepping perfectly. I don't want to like try and do that right now. I'd rather just kind of shrug it off. Um, it's like those moments when I'm thinking about like just try like the fact that I'm performing in a group and that there are other people around me that are like you know, looking at like everyone around you is like looking at you, right? Whether like consciously or not. Like when you're in an ensemble, you're consciously aware of everyone around you. Um, and I think it's just like as soon as one person starts like letting the ball drop, it's like it's incredibly easy for like the people around them to like look at that and be like, oh well, they're not trying as hard. Um, so like it's okay, and then it's a chain effect. Um, and when it's really such like an easy decision to just keep trying. It's like it's such an easy like, do I keep trying or do I just like take it easy, right? But like for every single person around you that is making that effort, right? That makes it so much easier for you to say, you know what, I will keep pushing, I will keep doing it, right? And I will continue having energy and trying my hardest. And so I think, right, so like I know that when I see other people around me doing that, that makes me want to try harder. And so I know that when I do it, hopefully I'm making everyone else around me want to try harder and push. And it's like you cannot understate the amount of influence you have on the other people performing with you. I think it's really you just cannot you can't let yourself think it's okay if I don't try my hardest because everyone else is, right? You can't like that it's like you can't you like you have to always try your hardest to make, and that makes everyone around you try their hardest. um so I mean, I guess that's it, where I'm just like I know like if I'm energetic and enthusiastic, other people like watching will hopefully like feel like a little bit better, and like they'll feel like having a little bit more energy.
On that note about influences, you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier when you were detailing uh, your very, very extensive career. Who to you have been your personal biggest influences, both in life and in music?
um Jeez, I knew this question was coming. I don't um in I mean, they're it's kind of one and the same. Because the some of the people that have like really pushed me to become like this sort of like a better musician are also the people who I just kind of admire, like generally in life, and I look at them like, wow, they're you know doing their best. And the best example I can think of is my friend from high school who is a musician. He's a weird and quirky dude. But like even this guy, right? He's practicing every single day, and he's committed to like improving and getting better. Um, and so in general, like I've always tried to surround myself with like people that I know will inspire me to be better, right? Um, so in general, like I always admire and see the best in my friends because I don't know that's just kind of how I feel. Um, because like I see other people and then I want to be able to do as good as them and I want to like be as good as them. Um, so he was like a very strong influence. Or like, I don't know. I mean, it's just like when you have peers who are working hard and like achieving things like that makes you like that makes you do want to do better. Um, and then and at school you have the honorable Jake Marcus, who I mean I can't say enough about him, but I haven't said enough about him. He's just like he's one of like one of the most hardworking people. I feel like you and I both know. I feel like that's fair to say.
100%.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like absolutely right. Like I'm proud to be able to be his friend and his roommate. Um, and that's someone at school where I'm like, okay, I mean Jake Marcus, right? You know him, right? And you see him living his life. I'll say, right? But at the same time, like he's this amazing, incredibly intelligent student, right? Who's getting a scholarship, who's getting jobs, who's absolutely going above and beyond, right? Um, and I mean, like that's how can that not inspire you? Um, and so I think those are two kind of peers that I've definitely like looked up to. Um, and I mean, there's obviously I mean, I said this, but like I draw the most inspiration from my peers because
Mm.
it's like it's easy to look at someone and be like, wow, look at I don't know. It's like you see like the like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates started Microsoft and Apple in their garage. Why can't you? Right? And it's like, okay, it's easy to look at like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and be like, wow, I wish I could be like them, right? But then to like have like your peers, achieving incredible things, it puts it in perspective, and I think it's for me, it's much more effective.
Mm.
Um,
It's much more effective because they're like right there.
yeah,
They're
they're right, like in like you're like that really is what I could be doing, or like that's the level I could be achieving right now. That um, and like not and not to say that like it's obviously not like I should be doing what he's doing, right? But like these are like I don't know. It makes you feel motivated.
mm,
I think to like to accomplish your own goals.
absolutely. I've always
Um,
felt very similar way. What you're saying? What you're saying is
look at the two of us. Um,
two peas of pie.
he's bad. Let's see what else. Who else? Um, as far as like musical influences goes, I've always loved Johnny Hodges, his saxophone playing. He's got like this he's got this like really incredible like tone where it's like because that sound when you play saxophone when like this was like when it's like spit coming through and it's like you hear like the spit. It's like he's got like this like incredible like fuzzy tone, but like it doesn't sound bad. It's like it's intentional. It doesn't sound like there's his mouthpiece is full of spit. It's like this beautiful like soft fuzzy smooth sound that I really love. Um, and he really turned me on to like how amazing like playing a ballad can be, and like how like like you like look at your like John Coltrane and you're like, wow, very cool, John. You play a lot of notes very fast. We're all impressed. Very good job. But then like the feeling of like just absolutely nailing a ballad, just like hitting the right notes, making it feel so good. Uh, and for me, that was Johnny Hodges. when I got to play Black, Brown, and Beautiful in high school. And so I like that. That was I was like that. I would practice because it's like a feature. So I would just like play along with it like over and over and over. I would just listen to it, listen to it, listen to it. Um, uh, but yeah, so that's like a that really turned me on to being like you can like play a song like that's very slow and laid back and still have like a huge and like a really incredible impact if you really if you work it right.
Mm. Um, for anyone listening, for anyone watching, Jake Marcus was our band president
Brand present
during Kevin's senior year,
and so much more.
my sophomore year. Played trombone, absolutely amazing guy, and absolutely incredible leader within the band. Um, as someone who was able to so eloquently describe, the efforts of his peers and the way and his music career so well. Um, After all this time, after all these different experiences, how would you define leadership?
Okay, well before this, I just want to add another thing about the Good Time Marching Band as a whole. And I know that I highlighted Jake like as my example. But I think one of the other things that really made the Good Time Marching Band a really special place is that it's like as you stated, and like I think the goal of this entire show is to like highlight all the amazing people. Is that because it's not just like one person out of the 40 that's like really incredible and amazing. Like every like it's not just like my classmates or my upperclassmen. Like it's like it is every single other person in the band that's like really driving me forward. Coming back from Italy and then meeting you guys as a class, and then like being able to perform with you guys was like incredible because I've got this whole it's a different feeling because you have when you're underclassmen, you're looking up at upperclassmen, you're like I want to be like them, and you're like I want to really play hard and I want to impress them. And then when you're an upperclassman, you have underclassmen, you're like I don't. Is this sort of feeling where you're like I don't want to let these underclassmen down. Like I want them to have as good of experience as I did. That was my feeling. I was like I had a fantastic time as an underclassman. I loved it, and I want my underclassmen to enjoy it just as much as I did. And so that was like that feeling of like now I'm playing good to like for the sake of these guys to like impress them and like um but at the same time like you guys are also so incredible that like you're impressing me. Like I'm not like it's like it sounds like it's like and I'm not even better than you guys. Like I'm like, it was like having like Manny and Dan in the same section as me for like saxophone. I was like feeling pressure out in jazz band. I was like, I have to like up my game right now. Otherwise, Manny and Dan are like gonna come out here and like completely show me up. Because like you got because they're so fantastic and so are all of you. Um, so I just want to say that everyone in band is incredible and amazing.